Okay. Oh, there we go. Wow. Okay. I think I have sound. I think you can see me. Hi, everybody. Nope. No sound. All right. Um, I'll give it one more shot here. Wow. And I said, relationships are complicated. Technology is really complicated. Oh, yay. You can hear me now. Hi, everybody. I am pseudo going to start over. I am Paul Sterling. I have been a relationship and intimacy coach for about 25 years. And tonight's topic is not the light and fluffy topic. So if you're here for a deep dive, you're in the right place. And if you're not, then this is probably not good for you. So I'm going to look at, what do I take people through when people come to me as a relationship coach and there's been an affair, there's been a betrayal, there's been broken agreements, there's been heartbreak, there's been an upset. How do you go from breakdown to breakthrough? And I am going to dive into that now. I've got to bring up a screen that I can share so I can share some pages with you. So hang with me another second. I had all this set up. Then I went to rearrange the sound. And when I rearranged the sound, the whole computer crashed and disappeared. And like, I still have some place inside of me that has shame. And I went into my shame spiral there, like, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong. So, okay. Here we go. Here is the slides that we're going to go through today. Need to get something out of the way. And by the way, thank you for your comments in there, for letting me know when you could hear me, when you couldn't hear me. Dive right in. If there's any specific questions you have or areas in relationships that tend to trip you up, let me know. You can message me there. All right. Here is what people tend to want. What I want. I want a relationship that keeps getting better and better and has a bright future. And to do that, I need to stay in a state of gratitude, feeling grateful. And in the relationship, if it's easy to win and hard to lose, that's a great relationship. So what happens, what goes wrong when we start taking each other for granted and it becomes easy to lose, hard to win, and there's a point down here called the PONR. And I'm going to talk about that today. PONR is what I call is the point of no return. And when we hit that point of no return, the interesting thing in relationships, people have different points of no return, especially masculine and feminine. The feminine can handle a lot more pain, and I know this is a generalization, with pregnancy and all the rest of that, and tends to tolerate a lot less pain, tends to, in a relationship. Women tend to be the ones who initiate relationship coaching, counseling, therapy. Not always, though. There's a lot of men that are doing it nowadays, and things are shifting. All right. So here we go, diving into this. What we want it, if we want it to keep getting better and better, and something happens and it gets worse and worse. We kind of want this. We want it to feel like this little kid hitting the tennis ball over the net. That's how we want a relationship to feel. Light, easy, simple. And what gets in the way, and you can kind of add to this if there's any that I missed. I didn't try to get all of them. I tried to get a lot of them in there. This is what I end up working with couples on. But affairs, jealousy, broken agreements, communication issues, lost trust, conflicts, romance is gone, needs aren't being met, feeling neglected, lack of intimacy, financial issues, past wounds, because if you don't heal the past wounds, you're not present. How decisions are made, exes, in-laws, politics, career. These are all the things that are getting in the way of relationships and make it complicated and overwhelming. And what ends up happening is you are here, and where you want to be ends up over here, and there's this huge gap in between. And sometimes it's a small gap, sometimes it's a huge gap. So where are you now? When I work with couples, we get clear, where are you now? Where do you want to go? What's in the way? And what tools do you need to get from where you are across to where you want to be to cover this relationship gap right here? So, okay, when I look at relationships, there's two different models. I know this is an oversimplification, but model number one is happily ever after. It's sort of the Cinderella, Disney World, Prince Charming, whatever it is. It's like when you get in the relationship, then you live happily ever after. The second model is more the one that I teach, which is sort of like the Lord of the Rings. It's when you get in a relationship, that's when the hard work begins. That's when the journey begins. If you're lucky, you found somebody that's worth going through the hard work for. So let me just ask, I'm going to back up a slide or two and just ask from tonight, which one ends up having, either in your current relationship or in past relationship, which one trips you up the most or has in the past? Is it jealousy, broken agreements, communication issues, affairs, lost trust, conflicts? Which one, if you could turn that around, would make a huge difference in your future? So if you're feeling really bold and want to share that, I'll be watching the comments here. Okay, so let's dive in. And I know for me, one that's been a challenge for me and still is a challenge for me is jealousy. I have some fears come up around relationships. And even though I've been working on it for a while, I still have my coaches. It's still a challenge for me. Oh, Kelly, thank you so much. The whole combo platter. Yes, I hear you. And if we can pick one or two key things, it will make the biggest breakthrough. So today, my commitment is if you play all out, you can create a breakthrough for yourself just by doing the exercises as we go through this. Now, what a breakthrough is when something becomes possible that wasn't possible before. It doesn't mean that you're going to get it. It means that a new possibility opens up for you. So, whoops. Oh, I got these backwards. Damn. Anyway, what do you see here? This is like I'm giving you the joke and the punchline at the same time. It's really disappointing. I screwed up my slides. And I'm just going to give you the example here. Most people, when they look at that slide, they see, and I'll blow it up just a tiny bit. They see a nude man and a nude woman. And then what happens is when you look a little closer, what you see is there's a dolphin. 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 They're all around the whole bottle. But you can't, well, most people couldn't see them at the beginning because they weren't looking for them. What's that got to do with today's conversation is if you look at things in a new way, all of a sudden things that you couldn't see before are going to become obvious. And that's my job today, is to help you see things that are going to have a breakthrough for you. Number one here, what I want to talk about is the difference between information and transformation. So if we look at information, I'm going to skip that one right now. Information, we've never had more information on diet in the history of humanity, in the history of the planet. Right now, this is actually months old, but right now, if you go to Google and put in diet advice, 26,900,000 returns for diet advice. We've never been more obese than we are now. So that's the difference between information and transformation. Just because we have lots of information doesn't mean it's working. Relationship advice, 94,800,000 hits. Now, I read all that information. No, actually, I didn't. But if you look at it, that's a ton of information. And if information is what we needed, our relationships would be doing great. So if you look at how are we doing, and I want to know how are you doing, but how are we as a culture here in, at least in America, doing right now? Well, there's between 800,000 and 1 million divorces every year. That means every 31 to 36 seconds, somebody says, I give up. I don't anymore. Average cost, $30,000. And that's not an expensive divorce. That's almost an inexpensive divorce. Average cost per year, $26,280,000,000 per year spent on divorces. This is an epidemic. It's radical. And it's not getting better, it's getting worse because we're focused on information versus transformation. And the real damage is not the money. It's the family, the kids, the friends, the self-esteem, the lost hope, productivity, outlook on life, fear of trying again. Is this making sense? So if this is making sense, I'd love it if you could just type in, makes sense to me. So here's the catch-22. This is Einstein says we can't solve problems using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. So to turn relationships around, we need a whole new way of communicating and thinking about relationships. Now, this is a big ass problem. This is a big challenge. And thank you, Kelly. And there are some really smart people working on this. You know, the communication and relationships as a whole, some of the people that I've mentored with or have found out there, like Tony Robbins. I used to work for Tony. Marshall Rosenberg, who created nonviolent communication. I've spent a lot of time with him. When I wrote my book, it was based on thinking about his work and his book. So my book and his book kind of fit together. Allison Armstrong is an amazing coach. She's been on this show. John Gray is a great coach. Dr. Sue Johnson on attachment theory. The Gottmans. Oops, John Gray got on there twice. So he's twice as good or something. Byron Katie, the Hendricks, Esther Perel. And then there's me when I had hair. This has been my obsession. So what you're getting here is 25 years of focus on a main subject. What makes relationships work? What makes them not work? And this is all a big buildup. And hopefully this is a big buildup that makes sense to you. So this particular slide is I was in New York City with my beloved years ago. And I am not a city guy. Even though I was born in Manhattan, I left the city probably, I think I was 3 or 4 years old, headed out. So I don't know my way around with subways, but to find my way around, what did I need? I needed something called a map because there is 840 miles of track. There is 472 stations, 27 subway lines. So to find your way around when something is really complicated, what you need is a map. And if you're wanting to go from here to here, it gets a lot easier when you can see the lines to take. Now, I don't know if I drew the right ones, but that you get the idea. The problem is nobody ever gave me a map of relationships. So if there is any way that you can take a picture of your screen or you can just draw this along with me, what I want you to do is this is a relationship checkup. And if you're not currently in a relationship, what you can do is look at your last relationship and figure out where it went wrong. And when I hit on it, let me know. So I'm going to go through these three. You see the three circles, those three main areas, and then the subsets. Now, is this a little heady? Absolutely. It's a diagram, it's charts, it's all the rest of it. But you will understand relationships in a way you never did before. And if you have a current relationship coach or counselor or therapist, you can actually bring this picture in and work with them on it and say, here's where I need to do some work. So this is where you start to dive in, and we're going to work from the center outwards. And by the way, here's the symbols. If I talk about an area and you're in it's a disaster, just put R. So that's red light. So you're either red light, yellow light, green light in each of these areas. If it's a disaster, put R. If it needs work, put Y. And if it's good, put G. So let's dive in. If you're ready, just say, I'm ready. And by the way, yes, I do love interaction. It makes me feel like I'm not just talking to myself in the computer here. It really helps me feel like there's somebody out there in the world that's actually listening, that makes all this hard work worthwhile. So thank you for that, for responding. And let me know where in the world you're calling in from. So here it is. If you want a lasting relationship, or lasting love. And I've worked with straight couples, gay couples, lesbian couples, couples in multiple configurations, all sorts of couples. I don't have a picture of how it's supposed to be. I do know that if you follow this format, it helps you. So lasting love takes three core areas, and we're going to work on those three areas today. You need to be available, capable, and willing. Are you mentally, physically, emotionally available? Is your partner mentally, physically, emotionally available? Are you capable? And there's a ton of different skills. I have 7 core skills that I go through. But the main idea of those skills is, are you capable of clearing up the past, connecting, getting present, creating possibilities for the future? Because if you haven't cleared up the past, it's where? It's in the present, and there's no possible future. So there we go. Available, capable, willing. Makes sense? Hopefully it makes sense. Now, what you can do is put an R, a yellow, an R, a Y, or a G next to available. An R, a Y, or a G next to capable. An R, a Y, or a G next to willing. How willing are you? And when I talk about willing, I'm talking about 3 main areas. Are you willing to be vulnerable? Are you willing to be courageous? Are you willing to be compassionate? Is your partner willing to do those? Okay. Here we go into the 3 big circles. Now, I know there's a lot of information here, and this is why you can take a picture of it, take a screenshot, come back and watch the replay, but then do your homework. Look at where either your current relationship or your past relationship. The first one, your heart set. Why you're in a relationship. That's about getting your needs met. Do your needs feel like a burden, or do your needs feel precious in the relationship? So we have our heart set, we have our skill set. If you think about it, if you have a plane, if you're in a plane, do you want the pilot to fly based on luck or on skills? I want a pilot that's got skills. And one of my friends flies 777. It's like that is I did some research. It takes 165 miles an hour to take off, and that thing flies between 500,000 pounds and 650,000 pounds. It's huge. I want a pilot up there that's got a lot of skills. So in a relationship, do you want to be the person with the skills or not? So do you feel unprepared or well equipped? There's another. So right here, you can use either R, Y, or G. Over here, R, Y, or G. Which one is it? And I see somebody saying burden, and I'm going to slow down for that one for a second. When your needs feel like a burden, you no longer want to be in a relationship. If your needs don't feel valuable to you and your partner, you don't feel valuable. So it's really critical that your needs feel precious in a relationship. And it's amazing how much your relationship can transform. If I want to help somebody bring their relationship back to life, it's going from feeling like your needs are a burden to feeling like your needs are precious again. So we have the heart set, the skill set. And like I said, the skills, the most important skills, I'm going to list the 7 ones that I talk about, but the most important skills are the ones that help you clear up the past, connect, and be present. And be present when your partner is happy and in pleasure and also in pain and disappointed and upset. Can you be with them through all of that? And if you can, what happens is you create possibilities for the future. If you can't, then there's no possibilities. So heart set, skill set, and the last thing is your mindset. And your mindset is a combination of your habits, patterns, and beliefs. And they either sabotage or support you. And if you think about it, I'll put the 3 things out here again. So it's either red, yellow, or green. When it comes to your mindset, if it supports you, then you want to put in green. If it's somewhere in between support and sabotage, needs some work, put in yellow. And if it sabotages you, put in red. And the reason I know all these is because I went through it. I lived this stuff. And it's my magnificent obsession. And the thing about habits, patterns, and beliefs is most of us, our habits, patterns, and beliefs are invisible to us until we've had an exercise or some way to expose it. Because our beliefs can be going, oh, I want a relationship with a partner, and partners always lie to you, betray you, are going to leave you. So part of you is all for it, part of you is against it. All right, so is that making sense? So if you could tell me if it makes sense or if you've got a question about it. The 3 areas again: heart set, skill set, mindset. Heart set about your, I call it, I'm going to erase that. LOL. This, in this area, it's not laughing out loud. It's the language of love. And the language of love is the language of feelings, needs, requests. Do my needs feel precious? Can I make a request? Can I ask for what I want? Or is there too much shame around it? And the important thing about this is you have needs in 3 areas. You have needs as a friend, as a partner, as a lover. If you're in a long-term committed relationship with somebody, you tend to have 3 different relationships: friendship, partnership, lovership. And you have needs in each of these 3 areas, and it's really helpful to be able to have conversations about it. So thank you. It's making some sense, at least to some of you. And this is that picture. This is a picture I got off the internet, but Do you want your relationship to work based on skill or luck? Skill or luck. A lot of times it takes luck to find that person, and then it takes skill to keep the relationship alive. So here we're going to dive into 5 reasons why you don't have what you want right now in a relationship. And then I'm going to take you through what I take people through to create the breakthrough. So I'd love to hear which of these makes sense to you. Which of the 5 reasons? Because if you're on this call, most likely, even if you're in a relationship, there's something about it that's not working and you're not getting what you really want from the relationship. And I'm not saying trade in the relationship. I'm saying you might need to update or upgrade your skills and your partner's skills so you can have what you really want. So the first reason people don't have what they really want is they don't know what they really want, and they need to spend time figuring it out. What do you really want in a relationship when it comes to communication and sex and intimacy and future and kids and finances? The second reason people don't have what they want is you know what you want, but you don't believe you can have it. So then you don't end up taking action. You don't end up speaking out. You end up silently settling and miserable. Or you end up like one person I talked to who hasn't been in a relationship for 25 years because she got her heart broken. The third reason here is you know what you want, but you don't know how to get it. So you know what it is, but you don't know how. That, I love it when people come to me like that. They know what they want in their relationship, but they don't know how to get it, because I've got a tool chest and have been helping people for 25 years get what they want in relationships. All right, we're almost through these. The fourth one is you know what you want, you know how to get it, but you're not doing what you know. A lot of times this happens in relationships. Like in the beginning of a relationship, you're doing it all. You're treating each other well. You've got date night. You're doing it, and your relationship is great. And then you stop doing what you know how to do. You stop making your partner feel special. You stop being grateful for them. You stop letting them know on a daily basis that they matter to you. Hopefully this is registering, and some of you are going to go like, oh shit, I did that. I know I have, and I know I've been in a relationship where my partner started taking me for granted, and I know how much that sucked. So where are you now? Do you know what you really want, or are you need to work on this? Do you know what you want and don't believe you can have it? You don't know how to get it. You know how to get it, but you're not doing what you know. Or number 5, and I love these people. They don't show up as often as the other ones, and this is where you know what to do. You're doing what you know, and the results are in lag. And by the way, that's a picture of a pregnant belly there. So if you want to have a baby and you've done what you needed to do, and you're pregnant or your partner's pregnant, there's a gestation period. And sometimes in relationships, there's a gestation period and there's some lag. So those are the 5 reasons. I'd love to hear which number makes sense to you. Is it number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Why don't you have what you want yet? All right. I know I'm covering a lot here. And I want to take something really complex and simplify it. And hopefully I haven't made it more complicated. Simplified, it's like head set, heart set, mindset. There's 3 main areas that if we work on it: communication, needs, and conflict. I'll get there in a second. This is an important concept, the difference between an acorn and an oak tree. And what I want to tell you is that in relationships, what you want to do is you want to get it early. It's rare that it's too early to start working on the relationship, finding a coach, creating breakthroughs, taking courses together, learning. It's never too early but there is too late. And too late, it's like if you deal with it when it's an acorn, it's easy. When you deal with an oak tree, like if you see that picture, it split their house when it fell on it. So that's the difference. And if you think about it, why are you here today? And I'd love it if you would type that in. And some of you, this goes out to like 6 or 8 different, I think 6 different sites or pages, including YouTube. So I don't get to see all of your comments right away. But if you leave a comment, even if you leave it in the replay, I will try to get to you. So there's 3 reasons to go to a doctor, and there's 3 reasons to come to me. The 3 reasons I'll just go for the doctor is like, there's a problem and you're going to cure the problem. You may have a disease, you may be sick, you may have whatever it is. Number 1 is problem. Most people go because of a problem. Most people come to me because there's a problem in the relationship. There's been an affair, a broken agreement, broken trust. It's falling apart. It's close to the point of no return. There's constant conflict or crisis. That's where why most of the people come. The next level up is prevention. There might be a diabetes or something in the family, and you see that coming, or there was cancer or some breast cancer, and you go, you know what? I don't want that. So I want to prevent it. You can do the same thing in a relationship. You can look and go, you know what? My parents got a divorce. I see other people having problems. I'd like to prevent having that problem. So you can come because of prevention, or the last one is you can come for possibility. I want to see how healthy I can make my body, or how healthy I can make my relationship. So if you think about it, which of these 3 would you come for? And I've come for all 3 of them. I've gone, and I am a relationship coach, have been for years. And I at this point have 2 different coaches that are helping me, because I have some problems I'm working on, some stuff I'm trying to prevent, and definitely I'm trying to create the possibility of the most magical relationship I can imagine. So which one is the one that resonates the most with you? Problem, prevention, or possibility? Now, here's what you can do if you want to have a breakthrough. Here's what I take people through. Number 1 is we set up a time. You make a commitment. If it's not to me, commit to somebody else. Go get an external, and I call it, why do we use a mirror? Because we can't see ourselves. A mirror, reflects it back. So you want a therapist, a coach, somebody to mirror back what you want. If you want to spend about 15, 20 minutes with me, it's no cost as long as you qualify. You go through and take the steps and you're really interested in changing. Here's where you can go and set up an appointment. It will be a couple of weeks before there's any time available. But you set up an appointment, and then what happens, and you can take this survey, whether you work with me, don't work with me. Let me blow that up so you can see it. arguelesslovemore.net/survey. Take that survey with your partner. It's about 21 questions. It will probably take you maybe 20 minutes at the most to do it. And people say it's been one of the most eye-opening experiences, because it identifies, like, these are just a couple of questions, but it shows in your relationship what's happening around trust, what's happening around getting your needs met. And it also shows where you are, because at the last question in here is, how pressing is this problem? And there are 4 different levels: urgent, pressing, important, just interested. And the challenge is, if your partner says it's urgent and you treat it like it's, well, I'll give you an example. If you treat it like it's important, then there's going to be a problem. I was working with this couple, it's probably a month ago or more. They came to me because the relationship 3 days before she was ready to go. She was at the point of no return. They had a quick reprieve and they got on the phone with me. So it was a temporary reprieve. And at the end of the call with me, the guy says, well, I think we're okay. We're not going to work on it right now. And I'm just telling you, think about that. It's like 3 days ago, they had a heart attack and now they're saying, I think we're fine. No, you need to deal. If your relationship is in urgent, you need urgent care. If your partner is at the point of no return or you're at the point of no return, don't wait till they've gone past the point of no return to take action. I literally had a guy call me and say, you know what? I came home the other night, house was cleaned out. My wife of 25 years had packed everything and left. That is the point of no return. He called me way too late. There was nothing I could do. She was already gone. Do not wait till the point of no return. So what happens in a session is we start to agree what the problem is. Now, here's what I want to say. Most people come in thinking that they're the problem. This other person's the problem. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that if you don't agree on the problem, you're not going to agree on the solution. And if you think that your partner is the problem, that's not going to get a lot of traction. If you think that the way you communicate with your partner is the problem or the way they communicate with you, you can get a lot more traction there. So I already covered these: availability, capability, willingness. That's one of the areas we focus on. Here are the 7 skills. This is another slide that if you take a picture of it, it will let you know. Well, take a picture of it, then answer the question. So we'll start at the bottom. How is your communication? On this side, it's combative, collapsing, blame, shame. And I have these indicators. So what I want you to do is mark whichever one you think it is. So here is how the scale works. The K stands for kryptonite, like superpower. It's your super weakness. If communication is your super weakness, kryptonite goes here. If it's just a weakness, here. If you're okay, mark here. If it's a strength, mark there. If it's a superpower, mark there. Does that make sense? So what's going to happen is you're going to mark each of these as you go up. Now, if you have a lot of, so that is communication. On one side, combative. On the other side, courageous, connecting. Both of you feel heard, understood, and valued. So think about that, mark that. If you're thinking that you want to work with me or at least have the free initial session, if you could fill this out in advance, it would really help us make a lot of progress because I would know where to focus. The next one up, and it'd be good to hear what is, if anybody wants to share, which side they're on when it comes to communication. Now, I just heard someone say something about shame, needs shame. It's like, oh my God, what needs shame is there's 3 levels of relationships to needs. Number 1 needs shame. Number 2 needs embarrassment. Number 3 needs embrace. So needs shame is there's something wrong with me. If I only didn't have needs, I would be okay. I am broken because I have needs. Number 2 is needs embarrassment. Needs embarrassment is I have these needs. They're important to me. And if you don't meet them without me asking you, you don't love me. And so that's needs embarrassment. And then the 3rd level, which is needs embrace. Can you embrace your needs? And that's a constant dance with me. Do you know how to notice, name, and negotiate your needs? Can you express them? So where are you there? Is that kryptonite? Is that weakness? Are you okay? Is it a strength? A superpower? Is this making sense? This is why I said at the beginning, relationships are complicated. They're not light and fluffy. You need skills. These calls that I do are not light and fluffy. Some people get on and get right back off because they're looking for a quick fix, a Band-Aid, a cure, and they're not willing to do the work. And that's okay. I wasn't willing to do the work for years until it just became too damn painful not to work on it. I'll give you a quick rundown of the rest of them before we wrap this up. Conflicts. When it comes to conflicts, do they spiral down and drive you apart? Or can you meet them with compassion and curiosity and have them bring you closer? When it comes to wounds, which is number 4, do you avoid feeling? Do you build walls to make sure you're never going to get hurt again? That's like that woman I said who hadn't dated in 25 years. She built a wall so she wouldn't get wounded. And that's the biggest wound of all, to never experience love again. Or are you willing to forgive and heal, to feel it, to meet it with compassion? So when these lower things start to be put in place, it builds up trust. And where are you now? There's trust unkept. On one side, it's unkept words, broken boundaries, broken agreements, fear, jealousy. On the other side, it's kept agreements. There were and kept word, boundaries are respected, needs are met. How are you when it comes to the world of trust? And I know I'm putting a lot in there, but there's a second part to trust. And by the way, as I'm going through this and you're listening, you're probably thinking of somebody that you would want to have go through this. So you can, in the comments, you can link them so that they can watch the replay. The second part of trust is, do I trust you? Is the first part. The second part is, do I trust me in a relationship with you? Will I keep my agreements? Will I take care of myself, or do I give up on my needs because I make you more important than me? Hi, Ariel. All right. Differences. Do the differences make us weaker, or do they make us stronger? Can you handle differences? Can you be with it? Or does it drive you crazy? And the last one is intimacy. And how are you in intimacy? Is it embarrassing? Can you express your pleasure? Can you express your passion? Can you be intimate? Can you have conversations in the bedroom before, during, and after making love about what you want and need so there's no more boredom in the bedroom? Does it bring you closer? I made a video on Tantra, sacred, and exploring sacred sexuality, and it's been seen 6.2 million times because it struck a nerve. People more intimacy in their relationships and in the bedroom. Now, I said, here's how I work with people, and if you want to work with me, number 1, you schedule an appointment, and that was back here, all the way back here. Schedule an appointment at arguelesslovemore.net/clarity. After you schedule the appointment, you fill out a survey. You can fill out the survey whether you're working with me or not. It's just good educational information on where you are. The next thing is to go to this page, the client-feedback page, watch this video. Again, you can do this whether you're working with me or not. It's a 15-minute video. It's really helpful to get clear what are the core problems that we talk about: communication, triggers, and needs not getting met. And then the last thing is going to the testimonial page and reading the testimonials for a specific reason, because I want you to think about what's possible for your relationship so that you can create a possibility. When you're working with someone, come in and tell them, here's what I'm wanting to create. Here's what I'm committed to in my relationship. And I'm going to bounce down. We've got to cover so much more, and I'm going to stop in a second on this. So I want people to get an idea of what's possible. I worked with this couple, and this is what they said in the first testimonial is after many attempts at couples works and with other individuals, working with Paul has finally helped my partner and I break through to a new place of understanding and appreciation for each other. And they wrote that after we had worked together for 3 months. And by the way, I don't work with people. I don't do one session. If we have a breakthrough session, and if we want to work together, it's a commitment of 10 sessions because it's complicated and it takes some working. Now, they worked through the 10 sessions, and then about 6 months after they were done working with me, we had a phone call to find out what she got. And she said she got back her feminine power and went from feeling like he had all the power and the final say to understanding he wanted to be her hero and make her happy. That she could use the "can you hear me now," which is my communication process, the "can you hear me now" process, to really enter his world and really hear, understand, and value him. It gave her more patience, confidence, and compassion and connection with her lover. It gave her a chance to go deeper into his world. She was also able to discover which of her core needs were beneath almost all of her upsets. And she stopped taking his masculinity personally and started understanding the differences of the sexes. What he got was he stopped taking himself so seriously, and started having much more fun in the relationship. He got to understand the differences between men and women in a way that was empowering for both of them. He loved that he was able to really enter her world so she felt heard, understood, and valued, and he felt like a hero. What would it be like in your relationship, or what would it have been like in a past relationship if you could have communicated so both of you feel really heard, understood, and valued? He stopped worrying about what he said and became very interested in what she heard. That was a huge breakthrough. And the last one I'll say is he got aware of chunking down, speaking in small chunks, so it was absorbable. So here we go. We're at the end. And basically, there's 3 things you can do. Number 1, do nothing. Ignore and hope that it changes. And I've done that in my life. Like during this whole pandemic stuff, I avoided dentists and I hoped and prayed that my cavity would go away. And guess what? It didn't. It was a way to self-sabotage. And now I've got a cavity is filled and there's an infection beneath the gum, and it was a bad strategy, but I did it I guess you call it out of fear. There's the second level. I'm going to do it myself, going to figure this out. That's John Wayne. And I wasted years trying to figure it out myself before I went and did the last thing. I went and got a mentor. And what Tony Robbins says is you can turn decades into days by getting a mentor and following what they say. So if that's something you want, get a hold of me. And the way to do it is you can message me, Paul Sterling. I'm all over Facebook. You can find me, or you can go to arguelesslovemore.com/message, and it will hook you right up to my Facebook Messenger, and you can send me a message. If you want to know anything about the breakthrough sessions, I can get you how to schedule one. And if you're in a relationship, what I want you to do is schedule it with your partner if your partner is at all interested in this, so I can get both sides. It's really helpful. You can also join my Courageous Love Show group, where you can see all the past videos that I've gone through this stuff. And you can also ask me for a PDF, a free copy of my book. Now, if you go on Amazon, I love it if you go on Amazon. The book is $19.97. If you want it free, or as a gift, I'm going to say it even better. If you want a gift from me, you can send me a message, and I'll bring that slide up again. Send me a message right there and tell me what you want. Do you want to join the group? Do you want to get a free book, or do you want a coaching session? And I'm going to leave you with, it's going to sound odd, but 5 reasons to say no to coaching, especially no to coaching with me. Number 1 reason is if you don't believe the relationship is worth saving or this problem is worth solving, because anybody you coach with or get therapy or counseling, anything, it's going to take a commitment of time, energy, money. The second thing is if you don't believe that this system, what I've explained to you, can solve this problem, then don't do it. The third one is if you don't believe in me, and I'm talking about Paul here, if you don't believe in me and my coaching methods, say no. But here are the 2 more important ones, or most important ones. If you don't believe in your partner's commitment or ability, and the most important one is you don't believe in yourself, your commitment or your ability. And all of these you can create a breakthrough around, but those are why people say no. All right. Thank you. I would love to hear what you got from tonight's call. Thank you for sticking all the way through it. Sorry about the technical glitches in the beginning. I so appreciate your time and energy and focus and all of your comments. So this is me signing off. I normally do these Sundays and Thursdays. This Thursday, I'm going to be traveling and taking time off. So I will not be back on Thursday. I will probably be here on Sunday talking about going from single to relationship ready. All right. Thanks so much. Have a great night. Leave a comment with whatever was the most precious thing you got from today.